Hello Flosstube, it's Jerry Caudell, the Yankee Creek Stitcher. I'm finally back for Flosstube number 44. Today is Sunday, October 24th of 2021. It's been almost 6 months since my last visit, and that was on May 8th. So yeah, almost 6 months. Gave a couple updates on Instagram, a couple of posts there recently. I've just been busy. Life happens, and of course, summertime, I don't stitch as much, but always something to do. So I'll do a life update at the end of the video because I know some people aren't all into that, which is fine. But I'll just do a quick life update on where everybody in the family's at and what we're all up to. So I'm just going to jump right into my stitching. I'm going to go over my whips, or we'll do FFOs, fully finished objects. I've got finished projects, I've got whips, some starts, and I'll go over my whip go progress. And then I'll share with you my plans that I've got coming up for the end of the year, the last couple months of the year and going into 2022. So let's jump right in. I'll start off with my fully finished objects that I've done since my last Flosstube. So my first one is going to be Betsy's Stockings from Plum Street Samplers. I had finished the stitching with my last Flosstube, but I hadn't fully finished. And I fully finished these May 12th. So a few days after my last Flosstube. So I did finish all of them using the instructions that was with the chart. And I love how these turned out. This was on 36 count, and I stitched these 1/2. And then I sprayed some antiquing spray. And a tip for using the antiquing spray, I tested on some linen, and I like how it turns out if you spray the back of your finished piece rather than spraying on the front. That way you can spray it a little bit lighter, and if it's not enough, you can spray a little bit more because it's having to fade in from the back to the front of the linen. So I like how it's turned out a little bit better for spraying it from the back and then letting it fade in softly from the back to the front. So, and that's how I did these. I love how they turned out. My next fully finished object is Henpeck from Plum Street Samplers. Love how this one turned out as well. This was one I considered ditching earlier this year, but then decided now I want to go ahead and finish this, and I'm so glad I did because I really like how it turned out. And so yeah, just a little pillow finish with the felt on the back. So that was Henpeck, and I fully finished it May 19th. And so my third fully finished object is Dracula's Confession from Lindy Stitches, Stephanie Webb. I loved stitching this piece. Let's see, I started this, I don't have my start date. I finished it September 1st and then fully finished it October 22nd. So just a couple of days ago, I thought I'm going to do a Flosstube. I need to go ahead and get this fully finished. So I just used a little cutting board that I had got at a yard sale, and I painted both sides of it. I just didn't paint there in the middle because I wasn't sure which side's finish I would like better. I just, it was, just a brown. And so I took black paint, kind of a dry brush over it, and then wiped it with a paper towel just to kind of press the paint in there, but not, I didn't want a solid black. And so yeah, I just mounted it on some sticky board, and with all of my finishes, I do put quilt batting under the piece, and that's what I did with this one. And then so I did glue that on the board, and then I glued on the black sari ribbon that I got off of eBay. Oh no, Etsy. Sorry, I had a sneeze there. So, yeah, I love how this turned out. The stitching on this went so quick. I don't remember exactly how much I had stitched on this, but I was to a point, I'm like, okay, what do I want to stitch on next that I'm close to getting finished? And so I picked this piece up because I was heading into fall. So I've probably picked this up sometime in August, and I think just within a couple of weeks I actually finished all of it. The letters is Color and Cotton Dracula is the color of that floss, and I love that. And I did stitch this on murky fabric, 36 count one, and I stitched it one thread over 2 strands of linen. So yeah, so it, I don't know if you can tell it here, but it was kind of like, almost like a coffin shape. So that's why I decided to mount it here. And I could hang it up, or right now I've got this little stand and I just have it setting on my hutch like that. So those are my 3 FFOs. So we'll go on into my finished projects. Let's see, we're going to start with Prairie Schooler's Pumpkin Patch. I had started this May 16th, and I finished stitching it on June 10th. And the reason I picked this up is I had mentioned, I don't know how many floss tubes ago since it's been so long, but I had mentioned Nell with Little Yellow House Crafts had stitched several of these Prairie Schooler Halloween pieces, and then finished them all in the same frame and set them on her mantle. So that's what I wanted to do. So I had started When Witches Go Riding, I believe, and not finished stitching it, but I wanted to see how long it was going to take me to stitch one of those charts, because I've got 5 or 6 that I want to stitch and display them all together. So I decided I was going to pick one and focus on it to see how long it was going to take me to stitch one. I did get a yard of 36 count macchiato from Luminous Fiber Arts, Misty Purcell, a whole yard of it. So I made sure I had plenty because I wanted them all on the same fabric. Witches Go Riding, I started on Harvest Moon. I think it's called Harvest Moon, but I didn't have enough to stitch all of them on that. So I hadn't stitched very much on it, so I was going to restart that on the macchiato as well. So they're all in the same fabric to display all together. So I started this pumpkin patch, Prairie Schooler Pumpkin Patch, on May 16th, and I finished it on June 10th. So I thought that was, not bad for, 3 weeks? Yeah, right about 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks. So yeah, this is 36 count macchiato. Love how this turned out. And I love that they do stitch up quicker than I thought. I was expecting like 2 months, but once you get started on these, and so much of them are words, that I was really pleased with how quickly it stitched up, and I just love this and cannot wait to get more of them stitched. And I have started another one. We'll get to that one when I get to whips. So now I just need to pick out some frames, buy them all at one time so they all match, and then get to stitching on these. Okay, so the next finish is Heart and Hand. In June, I concentrated on Americana, 4th of July type pieces, and I started this one. I started and finished this one June 7th. This is Heart and Hands, Home of the Brave. And this was stitched on, this is probably, I think, a 32 count, because I did stitch this 2/2. And there is a charm or a button that goes there, and I didn't have it, but I know I can come up with something just to stitch right there to take up that space. But this is a small stitch, yeah, so I finished it in one day. And this is stitching on this, as opposed to all the other projects I have going on. It was nice to have a small project to work on and finish quickly. Michelle McGraw inspired that, and I think it's going to inspire a lot of my projects in 2022 going forward, is to have more small projects to stitch on so I can get more finishes. I have so much to stitch, and I want to get these up in my home. So, Home of the Brave. Next, I have this project I started April 12th of 2019. And, you know, earlier this year, I said I wanted to focus on my older whips. And I've done that. I've been happy with as much progress as I've made on them. But I did get one finished. I started April 12th of 2019, and I finished this one October 2nd. This is Trick or Treat Pumpkin by The Primitive Hare. It is stitched on 36 count Grandpa sleeve by XU Designs. And I actually just ordered some more fabric from her and some floss for another project that I have planned. And I'll share that. I'll share my specific chart plans the next Flosstube. But anyway, this had, I think it was supposed to be buttons. Several strings come down with buttons, but I really wasn't feeling the buttons, so I just put a couple more spiders up there. But yeah, I love how this turned out, and this fabric I think is just perfect for this project. So many stitches in that pumpkin. I roughly counted up about 5,000 stitches just in the pumpkin and the hat itself. But once I got going, I ended up doing outlines, so you could just go through and mindlessly do the fill-in stitches, and it moved right along. So, love how this one turned out. Now, I think this one will just get a frame. I considered a pillow, and I haven't totally ruled it out yet. I think that's the most stressful part, is how to fully finish it. Because it's like you just want it to be the exact, or you know, the best option. And it's like there's so many options out there. Finish number 4 is going to be from Shannon Christine Designs. I started this one October 3rd and finished it October 5th. This was a freebie that she had on her Facebook page. It's called Boo. Stitched up really quick. This was, I think, Midnight or Denim. It's a Luminous Fiber Arts. Must be a 32 count because I stitched it 2/2. But I thought that was a cute, quick little stitch. I think I'm going to finish it into a flat and put a magnet on the back so I can have it on my fridge, because it's pretty small. It's like 2x2 or 2x2.5 or so. But yeah, that was a freebie on her Facebook page. And next is the one I'm most excited about. I started this piece for my birthday start just last year. And it is called Autumn Bouquet by Blackbird Designs. I absolutely love this. So yeah, I started this November 21st of 2020, and I finished it October 15th of 2021. I absolutely love this piece. It is just gorgeous. I love the colors. I just love the flow of the flowers and stems and the acorns, and it's just, it is perfection to me. This is 36 count. It looks like Legacy or maybe Heartland. I'm not sure. But this stitched up so quick. I think I had finished, it was probably, I'm not sure exactly what I just finished stitching, but I was in the mood to find another project that was getting close to finish. And so I picked this one up because I was in the mood for fall stitching, and wow, it just goes so quick. Even the letters that are done in the is it Smyrna? I think this is the Smyrna crosses. All the letters are all the Smyrna crosses, and that stitched up so fast. And I actually put my initials and the year on there. I never stitched those in, and I need to do that instead of just writing it on the back, because it's not going to ever get lost if I stitch it in there. But I just love this. Will go into a frame. I'll have this framed at Hobby Lobby, or I'll probably buy a frame from Hobby Lobby and then frame it myself. But yeah. So that was finish number 5. Okay, so that's all my FOs and FFOs. So we are going to go into starts, and I'm going to switch my piles around because I have so much to share. So I will be right back. All right, back, and I do have one more finish I want to share with you. As I was pulling out my bags, project bags, I did come across one more finish. It is for Christmas, my ornament that I decided to make this year. And this year, the ornament I decided to make for my tree was Hands-On Design Noel. And I love these colors. That's pretty. But I really loved how Priscilla and Chelsea changed to red. So I didn't have the exact red. I don't think. I think I used licorice red and old brick on the side. Oh, let me put, there we go. It's a little bit better. So yeah, I made the house red and the berries red and some red berries in the O up there. So, and I stitched this on 32 count dirty linen. So I love how that turned out. And I think I want to stitch the year in here as well. But I may, no, I need to stitch it in, don't I? I need to stitch it in instead of writing it on the back. I just told myself that. So anyway, yeah, that's my Christmas ornament. So I did get that one finished. Okay, so start. We'll just go with start and then go into whips from there. So my first start, and I did share this with you on my last Flosstube because I started this one on May 1st. And that was the Blackbird Designs weekend stitching. And I had started Summer Jubilee. Oh, heck. I don't have the book because I just got my working copy. Anyway, I started at May 1st, and I'm stitching this on 36 count 18th century Blackbird. And I absolutely love stitching this. The fabric is just perfection. Apologies, I didn't have time to go through and iron. I'll explain all that in my life update of what all I'm doing. But anyway, I have this much done on it. Sorry, it's overcast. We had storms come through today, and so it's kind of overcast. So I'm trying to use my room light and the window light. But I love that. Like, the stitches are just, you know, I'm not trying to brag on myself, but it's some fabric, when you stitch on it, your stitches are just perfection. And this fabric, I just love stitching on it. The stitches are just beautiful. So 36 count, and 36 count, I always stitch 1/2. And I just love it. Love this piece. But it's more of a summery piece, and right now I'm in fall, and I can feel the Christmas winter stitching creeping in, so that's influencing some of my plans coming up towards the last couple months of this year. So I'll share that with you after a while. But love that piece. Started it May 1st, as I said. And it's in this beautiful project bag that I made. I got this from Joann's. I just love that print. But I thought that was pretty in there. Then on May 31st, I started Red, White, and Blue by Cricket Collection, I believe. Yeah, I just got my working copy with this, but I believe it was the Cricket Collection. Yes, Red, White, and Blue, the Cricket Collection. And I'm stitching this on 28 count River Rock from Color and Cotton. And I'm stitching this one 2/2. And I think I went through and pulled out my own colors. It only uses 4 colors: the red, blue, white, and probably a gray. Yeah, because it just called for DMC. For the blue, I'm using Uniform Blue. And then for my red, I'm using Victorian Motto's Let Freedom Ring. And I just love that red. So pretty. And that Uniform Blue is gorgeous. I need something to put behind that. There we go. And this River Rock is so pretty. It has the reds and blues in it. I think I'm going to close my window because I think that's just washing things out. But I thought the faded red and blue in that linen was really, really pretty. And I'm going to see if I have the cover page for that as well as I close my window. Okay, yeah, I found the chart. It's the Cricket Collection, Red, White, and Blue. And my husband is a state trooper. And it says, "No greater love has man than that he gives his life for his brother." So I love that. So I'm stitching it to hang. I do have some of my husband's certificates and his pictures and stuff of his military and police time. So yeah, I was hoping maybe you could see the fabric a little bit better. But yeah, I only worked on it a few days. Like I said, in June, like each week I was starting a new start, Americana wise. And so after that, on June 19th, or no, I'm sorry, June 9th, I started I think it's Bent Creek. Yes, Bent Creek, Stars and Stripes Forever. Let's see. I am stitching this on Color and Cotton 28 count Sampler Gold. Oops. And the colors I'm using, I did just pull out some reds, or a red and a blue that I thought would coordinate better with this fabric. So yeah, I really enjoyed stitching on this. The only thing I don't like about it is I don't like stitching with 2 threads. So I did have to sacrifice that to stitch on this fabric, but I really like this fabric. It's warmer than what is coming through on my screen here. So yeah, I'm really enjoying stitching on it other than the 2/2. But I just love that combination of red, white, and blue on this fabric. So then on June 19th, I started Little House Needleworks America. I've seen lots of people stitch this piece. And I've had it for a while, I just hadn't started it, so I thought perfect opportunity, and it's small. Trying to focus a little more on small projects. And I am stitching this on Luminous Fiber Arts 32 count Snow Day. It's a very light blue. And once again, I'm stitching wait a minute. Yeah. I don't know. It looks like it's 1/2. It is 1/2. It's a little more see-through with the red. So the white doesn't stand out as much. The white I did use 2/2, and I will typically do that for lighter colors. It stands out a little bit more in person than it is right now on camera. So yeah, so hopefully, you know, come May of next year, I'll have more Americana pieces to have out. And then on June 27th, I started Hands-On Designs Memorial Day. God shed his grace on thee. Well, I love this chart. Just love the simplicity of some flags hanging on a clothesline. I think it's perfection with the flowers. I love that. I am stitching this piece on a Luminous Fiber Arts 36 count Whisper. And it is another light blue. And I got God shed in some of the flag and one of the poles there. So yeah, I love stitching those letters. Usually I'm not crazy about letters, but I kind of enjoy this. I like the font. Okay. Then on July 1st, I did kind of do Christmas in July stitching. So on July 1st, I started, and I actually have 3 of them finished. Oh, and once again, I put away the chart. It's Little House Needleworks Farmhouse Christmas. I did finish 3 of them. I'm stitching these on I think it's the 32 count dirty linen, because I had a big piece of it, so I went through and cut out all my squares for because I'm stitching the Farmhouse Christmas and the Prairie Schooler Barnyard Christmas. And I think this Farmhouse Christmas has 9 and Barnyard I think has 8, which is 17. And I think I have 15 pieces of fabric. So I'm probably not going to stitch the middle quilt piece and maybe not the cat on the Barnyard Christmas. So here is what I did finish. And I think, like I said, this is 32 count because I'm stitching it 2 over 2. I wanted it to be pretty bold, and I just love how this has turned out. The stitching and how the colors really pop. I think that looks, I just love that. And I'm going to obviously finish these into separate ornaments instead of the one big piece. And the barn. I just love these and can't wait to get them made and on my tree. I think it was taking me, depending on how much time I had during the day, usually 3 to 5 days was able to finish one. So I haven't touched them since July. So obviously I'm not going to get them all stitched for this year, but I am hoping to at least fully finish the ones that I do have complete. And then in the same project bag, since I have all the fabric for these pieces, I got the floss rings, and I think this is for the Barnyard Christmas, and then this is for the Little House, or Little House Ain't Works Farmhouse Christmas. So, and as you can see, I do still have my flosses going. I've got a little of the DMC done, but I still have quite a bit more to get hung up there. Whew, I didn't realize how long it was going to take to do those. So Friday or Saturday night, I'll grab me a glass of wine and come in and get them on the floss cards and hang up. So, oh, I didn't show you I did start on one Barnyard Christmas, and this is the rooster. Yeah, I actually have them. I just have them all piled up on my floor. Instead of filing them back in the filing cabinet, I went through and just made a photocopy of each of the charts so I like to highlight what I've stitched. But this is the Prairie Schooler Barnyard Christmas, and there's 8 of those charts. I'm not crazy about cats, but I do like that bird in there. So I'm probably going to eliminate one. I'm not sure which. But then again, I'll probably scrounge some fabric and stitch all these because I really like them. But anyway, I have started stitching on this rooster up here at the top. And oh no, what did I do with it? Oh, here it is. It's hard to see. There we go. So I started stitching the dark thread. So that's my progress. So I just love these. So yeah, I've got all of those in one project bag. So, because I stitched 3 of those Little House Needleworks Farmhouse, 3 of those back to back to back, and it's like, okay, I need to stitch on something different. So I started doing that rooster. Let's see. Okay, throw those back down in the pile, and I gotta put this chart back in just a moment. So those are all my starts, my new starts since my last Flosstube. Now we'll look at the whips that I had started previously, but I have worked on those the past 5-6 months. And so we'll start with my vacation start in August. Yeah, August. My husband and I went to visit his family in New Jersey. I love going up there. We really enjoy it. So I did a vacation start. I wanted something summery to stitch on. It's in Ocean City, New Jersey, Williamstown, New Jersey. So I wanted something fun and summery to stitch on, and something that was going to be kind of easy to stitch on, not, you know, real detailed or confetti heavy. So I went with Lori Holt's Flea Market Flowers. I love this. Just pretty happy colors. I chose 36 count tin roof to stitch this on. I thought about doing like a black or like a chalkboard color linen, but when I put it on this fabric, I really liked it. It's darker than what was the model was stitched on, but it's not black. So I did make quite a bit of progress. I really enjoyed stitching on this. You know, it was nice, easy stitches. Pretty easy to stitch on while we're driving. 36 count isn't always easy to stitch on while you're riding. So yeah, I did, you know, the outline borders there and then just filled in. Really love that. And so that I started that one on August 4th. Then August 10th, I took a few different projects with me to work on. I took Prairie Schoolers Trick or Treat. It's another one of the Halloween charts that I want to stitch, and I actually already have my other pieces of linen, so I've got 4 more pieces already cut that I can, once I'm finished, I can just go ahead and start another one. I don't have to worry about cutting another piece of fabric. It's all ready to go. And I'll actually show you all the charts that I have that I want to stitch to display all similarly. So the next one I started after finishing pumpkin patch. I started Trick or Treat, and it's this chart here. I thought that looked so fun. So, I mean, I love them all, but it's like, okay, this is so cute. I want to get this one going. So that's what I did. And once again, 36 count macchiato and 1/2. Yeah, 1/2. And yeah, you can see some of the white through there, but that doesn't bother me. I kind of like that. But that tree was really cool to stitch. I really enjoy stitching on this. So yeah, this is the current one I'm working on. And I do want to go back and stitch these smaller charts. That's the chart. The smaller ones that are on the back. Oh my gosh, they just all fell onto the floor off of my lap. Just a minute. Okay. Okay, so that one was Trick or Treat. I also have Witching Hour. I had considered, just because the other ones don't have all the, like, the alphabet in there, I thought, well, I could, or this down here where it says goodbye. That's what it was. I was going to eliminate this down here because I thought I could just shift, you know, take that out and just scoot this up to make it shorter. But then it's not going to be the same size as the other chart, so I scrapped that. I may put in there Happy Halloween or something other than the goodbye. But I think these smaller ones are so cute too. So Witching Hour. And then when witches go riding, I had started this one previously, and I had some of the top border done is all I had stitched. So I will be restarting that on 36 count macchiato. And I also have sweeping cobwebs. So cute. I'll probably do these in like separate little ornaments to hang on a Halloween tree. Oh, they're so cute. I just love these charts. And All Hallows Eve. I think this one's really cool as well. And those are the smaller ones on the back. So yeah, I love these charts. So I've got all of them in here. I already got my working copies made so that I can just keep going on them after I get done stitching one. Okay, so let's see. I started that one. Well, I kind of picked that back up August 10th. Then I picked, I was going to do Stocking September because this was September 1st. I picked this one back up. I had started this, I believe probably last December is when I started it, but I hadn't worked on it much. It's one of those you really have to concentrate on. It is, oh heck, I don't have the picture. Let me find the picture real quick. Well, I apologize. I cannot find my cover for this project. If I can, I will pull up a picture and insert it here so you can see what it will eventually look like one day. But I do want to stitch a stocking for each one of us in the family. So this one will probably be for myself. It's called Enchanted Ornaments, and it's a Dimensions stocking kit. And I had started this last year, and actually Amy with Amy Loves Totes and somebody else, I can't remember who she said, is stitching this along with her as well. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to do Stocking September and pull this back out and work more on it. It's going to be, you know, a fairly large stocking, and I found this as a kit on eBay. So I'm using all the called for flosses. And usually they're, I think it came with Ada, but the kit that I purchased came with this 28 count. It's 28 count Zweigart Ice Blue, Brittany Lugana. Yeah, I started this December 1st of 2020. It's a Dimensions Gold kit, but it is absolutely gorgeous. And I couldn't wait because, I mean, with this, you kind of have to start here. I think the other person stitching with Amy, she said she started hers in the middle. But when you start up here, it's just a bunch of green and brown. So I couldn't wait to get down here to these berries to stitch those because, oh my gosh, they're so pretty. So, you know, you're finally seeing some color coming out in here, so it's really motivating. And of course, lots of back stitching needs to be done in there, and I haven't done any of the back stitching yet. So these leaves and limbs will eventually, the detail will come out after the back stitch, after the back stitching's in there. And actually, I kind of like to back stitch because, and I think Amy has mentioned this as well, you back stitch it and the detail just pops, and it's like magical when you back stitch and actually see a design come out. I really like it. So yeah, getting some of the pinks and reds stitched in there, I think is so pretty. Okay, so yeah, that was Sampler September, and I think I only worked on it a handful of days. Because it is, you know, so tedious. I'll show you like the chart. You know, it's color and there are blends. So it's something you have to be in the mindset to be able to concentrate on it. And, you know, stitch a few stitches, and then you're switching colors, and so it's tedious. Not, you know, not my favorite stitching. So, yeah, I didn't work on that as much as I wanted to, or as much as I should have, because if I'm going to stitch a stocking for each person, I have 2 shepherd's bush stockings charts that I want to stitch, and I still need to find 2 more, since we have our son-in-law now, so he has to have his stocking. So I have to get 5 all together. But I'm hoping this shepherd's bush, you know, it doesn't have blends, and it doesn't have, it's not as confetti heavy. You have more solid stitching color-wise. Okay, so let's see. Oh, after finishing Autumn Bouquet, I picked up, I was like, okay, I'm still in the mood for fall stitching. I want to see what in my older whips is close to being finished, or a fall stitch that I would enjoy working on. So I went through my whips and found Beggar's Night, and I started this one April 13th of 2019. So by the Threadwork Primitives. Love this chart. And I'm actually stitching it on a 36 count deep pumpkin from Luminous Fiber Arts, and I love it. Instead of the light fabric, it is the orange, and I think it looks really, really good. This being 24 hours across stitch weekend, I think I've only been able to stitch about 4 hours, which makes me sad because I love 24 hours across stitch weekends. I just had too much going on this weekend. So I stitched about 4 hours, and I was bound and determined before I recorded this Flosstube to finish the urn and the bird. I just had maybe like an inch or so in the middle of the bird to stitch today. So since I went to bed kind of early last night, because I was like, oh, I'm going to stay up till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning and stitch because my husband worked overnight. Well, no, I fell asleep on the couch at like 10. Not very happy. I think it was like 9:30 because I set my alarm for 10:20. I thought I'm just going to take me a little power nap because we had a really nice big dinner at home. So I thought I'm going to take me a little power nap, set my alarm for 10:20 p.m. and then get up and, you know, stitch for 3 or 4 hours. I woke up at 1 a.m. and thinking, why did my alarm not go off? I look at my alarm, and I had set my alarm for 10:20 a.m. So I was not happy with myself. So at 1 a.m. I went ahead and I went and got in bed, and I woke up at 5 a.m. and I thought, you know what? I'm going to get up and I'm going to finish stitching this bird because I'm going to finish that before I record this Flosstube. So I did finish him. So all I have left now to stitch is this the bottom orange section here. Everything is done to that point. So hopefully, but that is a lot of stitching. That's the only thing. It's a lot of stitching. But I'm hoping I can knock that out and get this done. I have to finish it before October 31st, right? I got 1 week. I can do it. I can do it. Okay. So, yeah, I love the orange, and it's turning out great on the orange. My only concern is down here. Since it's orange floss and it's orange fabric, I don't know how well those like sunburst type pieces are going to show up. I mean, the orange looks pretty good, the orange floss. I think it will be okay, but if not, I can use the white to stitch those to define them a little bit better. If the orange of the linen doesn't show through enough to make those pieces pop. So I think it'll be okay. But I love this piece. I know that they have the Beggar's Fourth and Beggar's Night. It seems like there's another one or two. Okay. So did the ornaments. Okay, so that is, yeah, that was all of my whips that I've worked on. Well, that wasn't in conjunction with Whip Go. So my last projects to share with you is my Whip Go progress. Okay. Oh, let me put this back in here. Oh, and this is my project bag for Beggar's Night. I just love this fabric. Once again, I'm sure this came from Joann's. I just think that is so cool. And this plaid came out of Ben's Bargain Mart or Ben's Bargain Center or something. It's like, you know, Walmart's overstock or stores that have closed and they sell the inventory. I've got probably 5 yards of this. So, but I love that bag. I love the print. Okay, on to Whip Go. Let me grab my binder that has my Whip Go details. Okay, so on Whip Go, I'll refresh your memory on what I was doing. So I went through and picked out 6 of my older charts that I wanted to focus on this year to get knocked out. And so I went through like Christmas Village, Halloween Quaker, December, Miss Baxter's House, Forever and Ever, and then Christmas Quaker. And then I just went like Christmas Village goes all the way through here. Christmas Quaker is that line, Forever and Ever, and then that comes up here. So Christmas Village had 5 squares, and each square is 1,000 stitches. So each month, Jessie Marie drew 2 numbers, and so whatever numbers those were, was that chart, and I needed to get 1,000 stitches done. So you can see that I have actually kept up with this really well. So this one, Christmas Village, it was called in September. I have not done the 1,000 stitches for it. And you'll see December, I actually finished that chart. It has not, that number has not been called yet. So when that's called, I already know it's done. I can go ahead and color that in. And let's see. Yeah, so I actually have the 1,000 stitches for December. I actually did like almost 4,200 stitches, and I was so close to getting a finish on it. I went ahead and finished it. So I didn't finish counting all the stitches. I had over 4,000. So it was well over my Whip Go goal. And then Halloween Quaker, when I stitched on that, I think it was last month or the month before, I was really enjoying stitching on it. So I went ahead and did the 1,000 for that month, plus an additional 1,000. So whenever it gets called, I can go ahead and mark it out. So, yeah, so this one, September is not done. So we have November and December. So I have 4 blocks open. So I'm really thrilled that I've kept up with this. And so it'll be 25,000 stitches that I'll have complete. But right now I've finished 20,000 stitches in these projects, which I love it. So I'm super excited about 2022 and putting together my Whip Go board for 2022. Haven't decided which projects to do, but I'm pretty confident a couple of these charts will carry over to 2022 Whip Go because they are very large, and in order to ever get those done, it's great to have a dedicated at least 5,000 stitches in the coming year that I'll be able to stitch on these projects, or get those amount of stitches into these projects. So I'm excited about that. So let's just start with Christmas Village by the Prairie Schooler. This is my oldest whip. Christmas Village. It's a beautiful chart. It has been through the ringer. It's very wrinkly, and this is like one of the first charts when I started back into cross stitch in 2018. I don't even know how I came across this chart, but it was the first one I picked up and started stitching on. It's my oldest whip. And man, oh man, I started stitching it on 18 count Aida, and I'm stitching it 2/2. So the stitches are really tight. And as I mentioned earlier, I do not like stitching with 2 strands of floss, and it's really plump stitches. So and I actually stitched the roof of this house, because after, because I had started over here, done all the stitching, and I'm like, I'm just not enjoying the 2/2. I wonder if I can do 1/. Well, it's Aida, so it's 2/1. So I stitched this roof with 1 strand of floss, just the dark brown. I stitched just with 1 strand of floss, and honestly, it doesn't look too bad. But I didn't want, sometimes I wouldn't mind if I've used 2 strands of floss in part of the chart, and in some instances I use 2 strands of floss or 1 strand of floss. But I don't think it would look right, because all of this half of the chart is with 2 strands of floss. So I can't change it up now. But for that one house roof to be like that, I'm totally okay with it, because you really don't really notice it unless I had pointed it out. But anyway, I'm really burnt out on this, and have had to force myself to stitch on this, because you can see I think there's this building and the church that goes right here, but then you have all of these trees that go up here. Oh my gosh, not looking forward to that. So I don't mind doing the houses, even though they are kind of heavy stitching. But man, it's hard to want to pick this up, because I know I have all these trees. What I need to do is start working on these trees, do 8 or 10 trees, and then stitch on a house, and then 5 or 6 trees, and then stitch on a house, because it's so much. And I want to stitch them because, this is the mill, or, they're selling these trees here. So it just really adds to the chart. So I have to stitch it, and I will not let myself. A month or 2 ago, I actually contemplated ditching this. I think it was before I started stitching this house. I contemplated ditching it, but I was like, no, you're not ditching it. You're stitching this. You're finishing it. It's my oldest whip. I have to finish this. So it's rough, but I'm doing it. I'm going to do it. So I have to pick up these charts. Okay. So that's where we are on that one. And let's see. I so far have stitched 4,042 stitches in this piece. And it was on my whip go board 5 times because it was down the middle. So it's on my whip go board 5 times. So I have 1,000 more stitches to put in this piece. Oh, and actually it would give me a bingo or a whip go because it was called in September and I haven't stitched the last 1,000 of it yet. But like I said, I'm doing it. I'm forcing myself to do it. I'm like, this is my oldest one. I can't give up on what got me back into this awesome hobby. So, oh heck, there's the chart. Whew. I knew I was going. Sorry, I knocked the. You're sitting on my ironing board. I knew I was going to be a little bit rusty, taking 6 months off from doing floss tubes. Okay, so next on the whip go board is Halloween Quaker. I have finished all of my stitches, which was 4,000. It was on my board 4 times, so 4,000 stitches. I did 4,213 stitches in this project, and here is the chart. I just love this. I've seen several people stitch it this year. And I did stitch this on Murky. 36 count Murky. So 1/2. And I love stitching on this. I do. I just love it. And I did change the moon color. It was like white. And I know when the moon's like really bright, it's white, but I like a spooky yellow moon, so I did yellow, a yellowish moon. And so yeah. So it doesn't take much to get a lot of stitches in this project, but I love it. Absolutely love this. And since I did change the moon color, I outlined the broom so you could see it. So you could actually see the broom. But just love all these Quakers and the spiders and the little town. So cute. Like, I really enjoy stitching on this. That's why I already have the 1,000 extra stitches in it before the number is even called, because I really love stitching on it. Just my ring just caught on something. I don't know if it caught on a thread or what, or the linen. So yeah, 4,200 stitches in that. So, and this is one that will probably be on my whip go board again. But to be on that board, I mean, it would get 4,000 or 5,000 more stitches, and it's going to take a lot more than that. So I'm contemplating like how I want to handle 2022. I've been pretty good about picking a chart. It doesn't have to be in season or anything. It's an older one, or something that's going to need a lot of stitches. So I'm contemplating what projects I want to concentrate on. And these big ones, I just need to take a month and say, okay, this month I'm going to focus on this one, and start knocking these out. So the third chart that was on my whip go board was Prairie Schooler December. And this is one that I had started, I think it was in December of 2018 that I started this, but I put it on my whip go board because I wanted to get it done, and I did. I put 4,196 stitches plus. So I finished my stitching goal for whip go, and I was so close to getting this done and was really enjoying stitching on this. So I went ahead and finished this piece. It stitched up really quickly. Now you'll see I did not go through and stitch it's just a solid line border around this, just a box. No, I'm sorry. It does have snowflakes down here. There's a border of snowflakes underneath of it. But I wasn't sure if I want that on there or not. So I was going to try to, because I'm going to frame this. So I was going to look at what frame options I would consider. And then if the frame is large enough to have room for those snowflakes, I'll add those. But if not, I'll just rip these stitches, frog these stitches, and be done with it. It won't have a border on there because, as you know, framing charts or pieces that has, a defined line, it's very critical that when you are framing that or wrapping that around the board, that, this doesn't get pulled or warped, because then it looks wavy. It's not a straight line. It looks like it's crooked. So that's why when I stopped stitching it there, I thought, you know what, I may not, because I don't think it necessarily needs it. If I'm going to put it in a frame, I don't think it needs to have just that outline border on it. So yeah, I was thrilled that I actually got to finish doing Whip Go. Then I have Miss Baxter's house. And Miss Baxter's house, I believe, was started in 2018. Looking for my project card here. That's not it. Here it is. I started this February 3rd of 2019. I am stitching this on 36 count Legacy. And there's a refresher on what it will look like. Love this chart. Just love those black chickens and rooster. So this is another one. It's like, I've got to get this done, but oh my gosh, it's so many stitches. Her houses are so huge. So there's a lot of stitching in these charts, because I also have Christmas. Is it Christmas? I want to say Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow. It's not a Hawk Run Hollow. Hollyberry Farm, I think is what it is. Christmas. And there's a Halloween one. I think I got the Halloween one as well. So I love these charts, but oh my gosh, because they're so cute. But oh my gosh, there's so much stitching. I mean, just the border itself. And I did rip out that border, well, not the whole border, but the flowers where they were the light pink, and I restitched them in red. And I love that I did that, because it just pulls it all together. So I haven't done much more. I think you can see it. The lighter stripes in the house, I've stitched on those. So this part of the house is all stitched. That's all done. So I started on the lighter stripes right there, and then all of this has to be done. There's so, and of course the border. All of the border has to be done. I was thinking I would be done with this last year. Nope. But it's well, all of these charts really in Whip Go, they all have a lot of stitches left to go. So I want to keep them on my Whip Go board, but they still need to have more of a focus. So I just need to determine, okay, do I want to do a month's worth? Because I think, especially with this one, just stitching on the rows in that house, oh my gosh, you just get burnt out. But then it's either you're stitching the rows on the house or you're stitching on the border, which is the same repeat. So I don't know that I could stitch on it and focus on this chart for a month. I'm thinking maybe 2 weeks. have like 4 charts and rotate every 2 weeks. Maybe. I don't know, just something thrown around because, I mean, I love these charts. I want to get them finished, so gotta do something. Next, I have Brenda. Oh, heck. I gotta put my floss back in there. Don't want to get floss lost. Okay. Then I have Brenda Gervais, Forever and Ever. This is the chart. I am stitching this on 36 count Legacy. And I pretty much converted all of the colors into whatever I had on hand. I did start this on April 1st of 2019. So this is another one that's over 2 years old. But I do enjoy stitching on it. And I actually got over here to the house, you know, because stitching letter after letter after letter, it's like, okay, I gotta start. So I got my point in, and it's like, okay, I need to go over here because then there's a pretty bird up here. So I figured if I can get over here and more color and, you know, different things to stitch on, I can keep it moving along. I didn't say, Miss Baxter's house, I have stitched 3,022 stitches, and I have 1,000 left for whenever her number gets called in November or December. So this one, I have stitched 3,090 stitches, so it will be called one more time, so I'll need to put 1,000 more stitches into this, but I've made good progress. I love this piece as well. Get it up here. So yeah, this is more, some of the letters are cross stitched, and some of them, I believe that's the Smyrna cross, which I kind of enjoy doing. It stitches up really quick. So yeah, this border of the flowers is done. There is a border over here, but it's not these flowers. I think it might just be these. There's not really much of one on top. It just kind of stops there, and then the bird has a vine. So I've got that. So I've got to stitch this and the bird and the vine and these 2 small motifs, and then finish this border up here and all the words. So there's still quite a lot of stitches in here, in this, and I thought it would go a little bit faster, but I'm enjoying it. I just need to, once again, add this as a focus. Okay, so I have one more Whip Go project, and it is Christmas Quaker. I love this. There's some, I think it's Cheryl McKinney. She is stitching this as well. I actually, Annie, the proper stitcher, her and I think there's 2 or 3 of them all together, started stitching this, and because there's 2 versions. This is Quaker Christmas 2 that I started stitching on. Let's see, when did I start this? I don't see my project card. I have an index card that I have all my information on of what I'm stitching. I know it's 36 count fog. Well, heck, it was last year. No, it was probably 2019, because that's one of my older ones. Anyway, I'm stitching it on 36 count fog, and my red is Buckeye Scarlet from the General Art. Love this red. You can't really see the variegation. It's a darker red. It's coming across as pretty bright right now. But I love this. The linen has a slight green modeling to it, and I love it. And so the green I'm using is Classic Colorworks English Ivy. Trish with 3L threads. I was in her nest egg and ordered this. I said, can you just throw that in with my nest egg? And she gladly did. And so I just love this green and red on the fog fabric. So those are my colors that I chose. This is the chart. Christmas, or Quaker Christmas 2. There's also Quaker Christmas 1. I don't know that I'll actually stitch that because Lord only knows when I'm going to finish this one. But as you all know, I absolutely love Christmas. It is truly the most wonderful time of the year. And autumn. I love autumn. So I have finished all the stitching for Whip Go on this one. I put in 4,017 stitches. But I will be pulling this out over the next month or two and stitching on this just because I really enjoy stitching on this. I just love it. Absolutely love it. The red is just gorgeous. I just love it. So that's just a hanging thread. It's not stained or anything, but yeah, it's going to be pretty large, but you can see the green modeling in it. It's just subtle, and I just love this. This is another fabric. The stitches are just so pretty on it. And, you know, it's just satisfying when you're stitching it. And it's just a really great linen to stitch on. And like I said, the stitches turn out so good. And so you just enjoy stitching on it. So that is everything I've been stitching on the past almost 6 months. So this is going to be a long video. I hope that's okay, but I will do a quick life update just to let you all know what's been going on. Let's see. So I started, so my last Flosstube was May 8th. I started a new job. June 14th was my first day there. I was at Medline Warehouse. Loved it there. It's a great company to work for. It is very, it's a lot of physical labor, which I don't mind doing physical labor, but I will be 48 in November. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to handle that until I retire. I want to find a job that I can retire and that I'm going to love working at. And I have a friend that worked at Consolidated Grain and Barge in Jeffersonville, which is, it's about 4 miles past Medline. So it's takes me 20 minutes to get to work, an easy drive, and I absolutely love working there. In the accounting department, it's a very relaxed office atmosphere, and I just love everybody I work with. Lots of fun. So I was prayerful about it, and God is faithful, and this opening came up and I was ecstatic, and I'm loving it. So got a new job. Rob is still a state trooper, Indiana state trooper, night shift, 10 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. All prayers for his safety is always appreciated. And my oldest daughter, Bailey, she is now officially a PhD candidate at Vanderbilt. She is there as a graduate student and took her test and officially became a PhD candidate. So super excited about that. She has about 2 more years left of school to get her PhD. And so now she is working on her dissertation and deciding on what she wants to do after school. She's, 25. And so she has been a student for 20 years from elementary school to where she's at right now. So she's ready to be done with school. But she and her husband are doing great down there in Tennessee. They live just south of Franklin and really, really love that area. And he has a job now with Dave Ramsey Solutions, and he loves his job. They have decided once she gets done with school, they actually want to stay there in that area. So super excited about that. It's only about 3 or 4 hours away from us, so they come home frequently, and it's a great little getaway for us if we ever want. We've been down there a couple of times, so really, really great location for her. My mom and dad, we sold the store there a couple years ago, right before all of the closures. They have since found them a place in Florida, right off of Lake Okeechobee, on a canal down there. They bought the place and officially moved down there, became Florida residents about 3 weeks ago. They have been home most of the summer, cleaning out their house of anything that they wanted to keep or what they wanted to put in storage to keep that they didn't necessarily want to take to Florida. So they live right next door, right over there. They live, or did live. So they officially moved about 3 weeks ago. And so my youngest daughter, Corey, she had an apartment in Jeffersonville, and her lease is up at the end of this, in 1 week. And so she worked out an agreement with my mom and dad. They moved to Florida, and she's moving in over here. So we are doing all kinds of remodeling, taking out all of the floors. And we are installing all of the flooring, the laminate, wood laminate. Let's see, flooring, painting. I'm painting all the trim in the entire house. I am painting all the walls in the entire house. Ceilings, walls, trim, everything. The kitchen and the bathroom are going to be all remodeled. So yeah, and we've, summertime, I have a lot of summer outdoor projects that we did, extended or installed and enlarged rock garden out behind our pool. So it's all just been busy, fun, good things. I love DIY projects, so I really enjoy painting. I love a good makeover. And so that's been fun. So yeah, between keeping up with the goings on with all the family, and just having a great summer, awesome weather, that's what I've been up to. So we've all been healthy. No one has gotten ill from anything that's going on out there in this crazy world. So we have all fared well, knock on wood, thank you, Lord. So I hope to continue with that. And yeah, so, putting all this stuff together, I was thinking of my plans for the rest of the year and for 2022. So I've already got a list going for my next Flosstube. Apologies for such a long delay from my last Flosstube. It's just a lot of work, putting this together. I worked on putting this one together for 2 days. So, and now it's going to take a couple hours worth of work to get everything back together and in its place in my studio and my projects back to where they go. So it's a lot of work. I do enjoy it. It's just making myself take the time to do it. So I had so much encouragement with my last couple of posts on Instagram of people saying they missed my videos and, you know, was excited to see what I'd been up to. So thank you so much. You know, Flosstubers say it all the time. This community is awesome, and everybody out there is just amazing and so supportive, and so, you know, hope you're doing okay, checking on you. I've had several people message me on Instagram and comments of hope you're doing okay. Thank you so much for reaching out and letting me know that I am thought of, because it just blows me away, like how thoughtful everyone is here. So yeah, there we go. 6 months wrapped up in, oh my gosh, a little over an hour. So I need to get this edited and get this posted for you all on this Sunday. And hopefully, you know, every week, every 2 weeks, it's kind of I don't think that's really going to work for me. So I'm thinking maybe either a monthly update, as several Flosstubers that I follow have kind of went to, or maybe a mid-month and end-of-month update. So we'll just see how it goes. And I hate that there are times that there are several months in between, but I am excited to share my upcoming plans with you. So until next time, I will let you go for now, and we'll be back soon.